misconceptions and misquotes, and people refusing to provide corroboration, so I dug up some of it. This is in reference to some previous comments. Some of these comments have been deleted because they did the propaganda tax, and some of them have been left in because they were very good, but I got to repeat them here because they're that good. I have a question. Does any of this matter since Hillary conceded? No, it doesn't. A concession speech has no force in law, and it does not affect the election. They don't stop counting it just because someone acknowledges that they've lost an election. Does the candidate have to wait until the Electoral College votes in order for it to count? Yes, actually, all candidates do. They're not real. That's why they're only considered certified later on, and then they're sworn in later. That's not just ceremonial or a time for transition. That's because that was the time that it took to count the ballots originally, and our technology is so much further ahead now. It's still taking that long. Did I mention that we have 2 states that had to go ahead and do a recount? Next, I hope we the people can push for this, especially since Trump would have pushed for it and called it rigged if he lost. He did call it rigged, so maybe he was right. Okay. That's a cute comment and everything like that, but again, the shoe's on the other foot, because the specific thing that was bandied about at one point was the Electoral College going against him, which is funny because the only Electoral College person who said anything about it said he was going to vote against Hillary because he's a Bernie bro. But anyway, here we go. The popular vote for Hillary or Trump is a small minority group compared to the population in America that didn't vote, even if they preferred one candidate over another. And a number of votes for Hillary are, and this is where this got disconnected. You can't post this. They're dead people, unless you're going to show some sort of proof that that's actually happened. And again, the one you're referring to is a specific state where they did in fact examine that and found out that no, there weren't dead people voting in a violation of the rules. Those were actually not that thing. I have that in another video. I'm not repeating it here. And you and all the people who've done this won't tell me where you're getting this from. And then when I go look it up, I find out it's a bunch of conspiracy theory sites that won't cite the sources. And then the explanation I get in one of the comments is, well, they've covered that up. Well, if you don't have any evidence of what you're saying, you are stating something that's not corroboratable. And this is the meme that comes up every year. Oh, dead people are voting. Shut up. To the people who commented this. Now, if you want to provide proof, provide it. Post it in a comment. I'm not going to mark it as spam. At least give me a clue where you're getting it from. By the way, someone gave me a clue by accident, and I looked up one of the other memes, but here we go. Copied and placed other people's names on ballots. Again, that's why we have the ballot recounts. And this is denial about the fact that Hillary got the popular vote, just because that happens once in a while. Voters also complain about the electric voting machines auto-selecting one person then another. You're saying it was only for Hillary. It was actually for either of them. There's a short video somewhere on the net showing this happening. You're not supposed to bring a camera in to observe one of these machines. If it's a touch screen, it's a defective touch screen. These happen. Get rid of them. Let's use paper ballots. The popular votes are still being counted. To make a popular vote democratic, you ought to get the votes from 100% of the population's adult citizens and then count that. Yeah, I'm in favor of everybody legally being required to very much verify who they are, be sent a ballot, and if they send it back, it gets counted. They have to, really get people to vote, because we got people who are just letting it slide. And when it's close like this, it's especially infuriating. So I do agree with that, but no, you didn't post any proof about the dead people voting, and the electronic voting machine defects were actually fixed. Right? That's one that nobody's looked up, and I'm going to look into that, because I'm going to look into the whole history of these voting machines and me making one play Pong. And comment to someone, yes, I looked it up. Just because Breitbart made the assertion that absentee voters are mostly Republican by implying it, doesn't mean they actually said it, because the things they were referring to showed that it was pretty much even Steven. It has to do with people in some states not being allowed to give absentee or mail-in ballots or voting early, for whatever reasons. And you might want to look up which particular individuals don't want you to be able to vote by mail, which would be hard to break into, because it is actually harder to do. See also people complaining about the voting machines. Next assertion. Some states, counties, and districts with absentee votes don't count them. 13 states do not allow early voting unless there's an approved excuse. You might want to look up why and who did it and who benefits from not letting absentee ballots show up. As absentee voting becomes more popular, however, an increased number of elections are being decided by these, and they're being blocked by, you might want to look up which groups. It's not just one. It is a misconception that absentee ballots are only counted during the very tight races. This misconception stems from the absentee ballots often being counted for days and days after an election, since many are coming from abroad, and that's the only time anybody hears about these things being counted. But they are always counted. It's a pain in the rump, but they have to be. They are often in small percentage of the voted ballots, and they're usually from abroad, and from, military people as well. And some people only want it to be one group of people who gets to vote using this. And every single time a large number of people is able to vote using these and voting early, it doesn't necessarily go the way people who want it to go happens. So they see it as a threat. Sort of like the population in California who are American citizens, not foreigners, who are of Mexican descent, who actually aren't undocumented or illegal aliens, they're legal aliens, wanting the right to vote, and people not liking that. So we'll just spin doctor that. Sounds a little familiar. It's called disenfranchising. Many elections have a clear winner, so absentee ballots that are still being counted and are legally required to be counted after an election night don't affect the results as predicted right after the polls close. But this election obviously is a gigantic, flaming exception. There are currently only 2 states with 80% reporting, and they already went to Hillary. They may flip over to being Trump. It may be even a bigger win for him, because that's a pretty significant number of votes not showing up. What the hell is wrong with Washington and Utah? Seriously. And what's up with California? Someone look into that, because I'm going to get a headache if I look into that. And dear God, Michigan and New Hampshire, finish your count. 20 votes, where the hell they go? And like, they'll go right back, I'm sure, but they're doing a recount because they're required to. They have to do a physical count. They are reporting almost every report coming back in, so they don't have to do a recount. They don't have to do a recount. They'll just recount once, and it'll go back, and then Trump will still win, and everything will be normal. I just want it done because I don't want any more riots, but I really don't want a completely different riot where they're all here rioting. That's just going to make me mad, because at that point everybody has a reason to riot. I've said from the beginning, we need to move on. So please, Electoral College, New Hampshire, and Michigan, please let us move on. Please. No, I'm serious about this. But zombie apocalypse Mexican busload voters, you have to actually show proof of it. And it can't be some website that just says, oh, everybody knows that. You can't do that. And it has to actually show incidents and reports, real ones, actual something. Preferably from previous elections as well. That should be easy to find. Those all happened, right? Well, then when you look those up, they actually didn't happen. Those were fake assertions made by various groups, Republican, Democrat, Nazi. It doesn't matter. And absentee ballots are not counted is a meme to keep them from being mailed. There's a certain group of people that does not like absentee ballots. And as for poll watchers, yeah, the thugs who show up at the voting booth trying to intimidate people. It's called a private or secret ballot for a reason. I have a right to privacy. You do not have a right to violate that. If you don't like that, I don't give a damn. And yeah, I got approached by a poll watcher one year, and he was a flaming jackass, and he got socked in the face, I think 6 times in 14 seconds by all of us. And then we all voted and stood around and stared at the other ones, so they'd stop harassing a specific group of people that they didn't want to have vote. On the other hand, another group of poll watchers, who were all Republican old ladies and old men, they were there to keep the same thugs from doing it there too. Real poll watchers don't stop you from voting. They make sure you vote, and they say thank you. And this challenge idea in some southern states specifically of just harassing people who don't look American enough, no, that's not a problem at all. And again, the lie, not a meme, the lie about California registering a bunch of Mexicans to vote in this election is a lie. That's it. It's based on something that does not indicate that. There's no reason to believe it. And every one of you keeps reposting links. They get deleted because it's a lie. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that.